Hello everyone, I'm Eddie Riccardi with Riccardi Real Estate, and today I'm here to share with you what are, in my opinion, the 5 worst things about living in Lisbon. Stay tuned. Reason number 1, the bureaucracy and the inefficiency. If you've been following my content, following my videos, this is a common topic. It is quite a bureaucratic country, and the inefficiency that follows it, it's quite noticeable. And in all fairness, this is quite an European thing, to be honest. If you're coming from the US, from Canada, from the UK, Nordic countries, where everything has been streamlined to simplify things, Southern Europe or Europe in general are not quite on the same speed. Anything to do with paperwork, with licensing, with legal, banking, everything seems to be just a bit more complicated. I speak with friends from Germany, from Italy, from Spain, and it seems to be a thing that goes around that part of Europe. They're still quite stuck on the old ways of doing things. Just something to note, it doesn't change how much I love living in the city, it doesn't change how much I love the country, but very important to know that depending on where you're coming from, that you will encounter bureaucracy and inefficiency along the way. Reason number 2, the fact that the train system in Portugal is not really well connected to the rest of Europe when it comes to fast trains. In Europe, to have easy access to a big part of Europe by using the rail system, which then brings us to flying most of the time. It is, when you think of living in Europe, I always had this idea of traveling by train often, just switching, going to different countries for the weekend. Living most of my life in Canada, this is something that was not an option given that we're such a large country. And even flying, a lot of the times we're flying 2, 3, 4, 5 hours. I thought one of the things of moving to Europe will be to be more connected to the rail system. Having that said, Portugal is not quite there yet. Within Portugal, very easy to travel by train. We have a fairly fast rail that goes from north to south, and then some more regional trains, but unfortunately not connected by fast train to the rest of Europe. Reason number 3, the lack of integration. The reason why I bring this is that I mention all the times how social we are, how active, how happening the city of Lisbon is, cosmopolitan, engaging, so much to do, the art scene, the food scene, the great weather that allows us to do the outdoors year-round, that all generates this lifestyle that is quite amazing to live, such a great place to be any time of the year. But one thing that it was quite a surprise for me, somebody who's fluent in Portuguese. I was born and raised in Brazil, lived in Brazil until I was 18 years old, that I thought I would arrive in Lisbon and be able to integrate with the local community, I'll be having lots of Portuguese friends, being invited to their parties, invited to their homes, invited to just their life. And that hasn't quite been the case, and not for lack of trying. So it's that lack of integration in between everyone else and the Portuguese. And it doesn't upset me or anything like that. I find it important to mention that they're extremely kind, they're the nicest people, they're hospitable, they're welcoming, but there is still a bit of a barrier that keeps the locals a bit separated from the rest of the world. I really have a variety from all over the world, from many European countries, from Asia, many from North America, South America. So there's really a good mix that is living together and integrating really well together. but it's just unfortunately still a bit separated from the integrating with the locals. And I think that's a matter of time. Everything is happening really quick. It is understandable that the locals also have a very busy social life. Being a small country, they're always gathering with their old friends, with their families. That's what my take is from being here 3 years at this time. That is not the lack of desire to integrate. They do speak the language well. They do welcome us into the country. But I find my understanding from it is it could be really the lack of time to have extra time for new friends when they're already so busy with long work hours, family commitments, and commitments with old friends. So just something to know before you move to Lisbon. Reason number 4, the standard of service. This might not come as a surprise to you that have traveled to Europe many times, Southern Europe especially, that the service culture is not quite what it is in places like the United States and Canada. And it's getting better, at least I would say for Lisbon, such an international city now, cosmopolitan, with lots of eyes from all over the world, with lots of investments coming from everywhere, businesses being open from people from all over the world, the locals becoming a bit more aware of the needs to become more attentive to detailed service, I should say. And but with that said, it's just as important to adjust your expectations when you move here, to know that the consistency is not the same. And there's also perhaps has something to do with the lack of the tipping culture. Tipping here is customary, but not in a way that it is in North America. Not that it's unfriendly or negative or rude by any means. It's just not as efficient. It's not as trying hard to please as some of you might be accustomed to. So again, fantastic. Again, I'm here 3 years, love going out, go out all the time, have my spots, but just I have adjusted at this point what my expectations are when it comes to service. The same applies to retail, right? Like exchange policies, return policies. We have become so accustomed to relaxed exchange and return policy. Many stores, many shops here are adapting to this, but don't expect that culture to be applied everywhere in Portugal. Just something to be aware of. Reason number 5, there is no MLS in Portugal. The multiple listing service that we're so accustomed to in North America does not exist in Portugal. And this is a personal one that is quite frustrating for me as a real estate professional for, going on 15 years now, having always been used to this platform that works so well, not only for the agents, but also for the client. If you are already on the search of a home to rent, to buy, just researching, curious about, you might have come across this, the amount of duplicate listings, the amount of listings that sit online that are no longer available. People, agencies that will keep them there just to fish for new clients. And then it gets deeper than that as on a professional level. The lack of transparency sometimes, the lack of efficiency that comes from not having one system that we all share, that we all work together. But it's very important to mention that there is a movement, and that there is a movement in Portugal as people are moving here, as it's no surprise as prices are going up. It's an important investment that the country is moving forward in the right direction, slowly but surely. But just be aware, if you're accustomed to that streamlined process of having one platform with all the listings, with all the information from everything that is available, do not expect that in Portugal. Hence the reason why it's extremely important to have an agency, to have an agent, a licensed realtor that you trust to be doing the legwork for you, to being transparent to the client because he has the ethics to do so, to be honest because he wants to do so. Because also what it comes from not having the MLS or real estate board per se, licensing agents, the expectations, the training that is given to most agents it's nothing compared to what you might be accustomed to in North America, where licensing is required, where ongoing education is a requirement. And that's one of the things that I take great pride in, is for being a licensed realtor since 2009, maintaining my license in Canada, and having my own brokerage in Canada that acts as if it were a licensed agent. So keep in mind, no MLS. So important to really be a bit more patient as you're looking for properties, and understanding that many things that are available online are actually not really available in the market. And also be very cautious when choosing a real estate professional to make sure it's somebody that is working with you with your best interest in mind, with transparency, and with accountability and loyalty to you. Thanks very much for watching. I hope me sharing what are the 5 worst things that I have to share about living in Lisbon are helpful for you on making the decision of moving here. It's important to know that I absolutely love the city. I'm 3 years in and loving every time more, loving the changes, loving how this country is just so welcoming, so amazing to live. These are by no way a complaint, but just a moment of honesty to share with you what I personally think are the 5 things that drive me crazy about living in Lisbon.